I'm going to share with you 5 morning habits that melt belly fat. It helped me to get rid of mine while working a sedentary job, managing the family, and still enjoying my weekends. These are some of the same habits that I teach my coaching clients as well to give them their body transformations. Now, the first habit was related to my protein, and not just high protein, but how I approach eating high protein, because I front loaded my protein every day, which means I try to eat as much protein in the beginning of the day compared to the end of the day. Protein can be a challenge for a lot of people to try to eat enough of it. So all I did was took my goal weight and multiplied it by 0.8. This was the number of grams of protein that I was going to try to eat every day. So for me, that was 3 eggs with some ground turkey, along with the protein shake that had some oats in it. I made this my go-to breakfast because it was quick and it got me so much protein to start my day compared to what I used to eat. Now, I did this for a few reasons. Firstly, protein boosts your metabolism. Out of the 3 macronutrients between protein, carbs, and fats, your body has to spend more calories, more energy to digest protein compared to the others. So just by eating more protein, you're gonna boost your metabolism. The second thing is that it reduces hunger. Because it takes so much time and energy for your body to digest protein, it helps to blunt those cravings and to blunt those hunger cues compared to some other type of high carb breakfast. Before I focus on front loading my protein, I would get these cravings and this hunger around mid-morning, and the only thing I focused on was trying to get a snack somewhere instead of what I actually had to do for the day. Typically what I would do was pick up some kind of sugary snack, some kind of granola bar or something like that, and it wasn't fulfilling my cravings. It was only making it worse because I would have this quick boost of sugar and energy to only feel tired an hour or two later and then want to look for another snack to boost my energy again. Once I started to front load my protein, everything changed. I didn't deal with those cravings anymore, none of that mid-morning hunger, and I could focus on my work for the day and not looking for another granola bar. Another big thing that protein does is it helps you to build and retain muscle. And that's super important for us, especially getting over the age of 30, because after you get to the age of 30, you naturally start to lose muscle over time unless you do something about it. So you have to eat protein to retain that muscle. So if you're active like me, where you're weight training, you're doing cardio and things like that, you need to give your body the nutrients that it needs to build and retain the muscle, which is protein. So all of this together makes it way easier for you to burn fat if you're eating the right nutrients, especially if you start your day correctly. The second habit that I follow was to make sure I stay hydrated. A lot of people tend to overlook the importance of water and hydration when it comes to getting their belly fat down. So I approach my water the same way I did with my protein. I front load my water, because if I try to hit the majority of my water intake by the end of the day, I'm gonna have a really hard time sleeping, running to the bathroom every hour or two. So my goal was to drink half my body weight in ounces every day. So if I was 180 pounds, I wanted to drink 90 ounces of water by the end of the day. Drinking water is another thing that's gonna boost your metabolism. It helps get your systems going. That's how I like to explain it to people. Your body is not gonna run its best if you're not hydrated enough. Another great thing about water is that it flushes out a lot of toxins in your body. If you're not getting enough water, you're going to retain more water, which means you're going to weigh heavier on the scale, you're going to deal with bloating, and you're not going to be able to flush out a lot of those toxins that are going to make you sick and not feel your best. So when I actually started focusing on drinking more water, I noticed a difference in my body within the first couple of weeks. I wasn't as bloated, I just felt better overall, I had more energy, and I wonder how I went all these years without drinking water like I was supposed to. Now, one of the ways that I get my water intake in by the end of the day is that I start early. So I have my water next to my bed, and as soon as I get up, I try to drink 16 ounces or so to get started on my water intake for the day. And I keep up with this intake, making sure I set reminders for myself to drink enough, so that way I'm done by about 5 p.m. I don't want to drink too much water at night because it's going to mess up my sleep. So if you haven't been drinking enough water, I highly recommend that you get started on that today. The third habit was moving early. Now, when I first started my fitness journey, my job didn't allow me to work out in the mornings, but I hated going to the gym in the evenings because it's like a million people in there, and I felt like I was waiting on the equipment more than I was actually doing my workout routine. That all changed when I switched jobs, and I saw that the only way I was going to be able to get a workout was if I went in the morning. But I thought, how can I do a full workout in the morning? How am I going to have the energy or even be mentally ready to do weight training and things like that in the morning? Until I actually tried it, and that has been one of the biggest changes in my life. Getting the workout in the morning does so much because it sets your day up. One thing that I noticed was that on the days that I work out, it's a lot easier for me to stay on track with my nutrition because I want to maximize the day. I already started out on a good note and I want to finish on a good note. It also makes it more efficient when you do your workouts in the morning. You go to the gym, the people that go in the morning, they're serious. They don't waste a lot of time because they have things to do as well. There also aren't a million people in the gym, so you don't have to wait for equipment and you can get your workout done efficiently. Working out in the morning also reduces the cortisol, which is the stress hormone. You just feel better when you get your movement done in the morning. And I noticed that difference compared to days where I may sleep in or sleep a little bit later and I get off to a slower start. There's a big difference between those days and waking up a little bit earlier to get some type of exercise in. The fourth morning habit was avoiding sugar. Growing up, I was big on all things sugar. Breakfast would have been Pop-Tarts or some type of cereal or toaster strudels if you had those before, which is pretty much just a dessert. And I carried those habits into adulthood, especially those s'mores Pop-Tarts. But all that was doing was increasing my blood sugar at the very start of the day, which was making my body have to produce more insulin to be able to bring that blood sugar down. And when the insulin comes in to bring the blood sugar down, that's where the crash comes in and you feel like you have no energy and you just want to take a nap and go to sleep. And the only way to satisfy that craving and get your energy back up is to eat more sugar. So you see how this cycle is just going to repeat itself and you really don't get anywhere. You don't feel satisfied. You feel like crap, and the rest of your morning and the rest of your day is going to be ruined just from how you started the day with a bunch of sugar. So I found that eating the higher protein and having some fiber and some water in the morning helped to level out my blood sugar, and I was able to avoid all those cravings for those sugary foods and sugary snacks for the rest of the day. Now, I'm not saying I never eat sugar. I like baked goods just like anybody else, but when you start your day with it, it can create a cycle that you don't want to deal with. So enjoy your treats, just be mindful about the frequency and the timing of it so you don't make losing the belly fat harder than what it needs to be. Now, the fifth habit was related to how I plan my meals. I don't like doing meal prepping. I don't like cooking a bunch of food and separating them in the Tupperware and all. I don't like doing that, but I do like planning. Even if you don't have all your meals separated in the Tupperware, having a plan around your meals for the day can be just as effective. And this meal planning means you took time in the morning to know what you were going to eat for the rest of the day and to make sure that you have the things that you need or were going to need so you don't get off of your plan. I knew how many calories and how much protein I wanted to hit by the end of the day so I could lose my belly fat, and I wanted to have a plan around all my meals to make it a lot easier to do that without having to think too much about my meal. For example, if I knew I was going to be at the office all day, I was going to take a protein shake that I could reach for if I did have some kind of hunger before lunchtime, so I knew that I could do that instead of going to the vending machine looking for something that wasn't going to help me. If I knew I was going to be at the office, I needed to decide if I was going to be taking my lunch or if I was going to be eating out. If I was going to be eating out, I already decided where I was going to go, what I was going to eat, and to make sure that it was going to fit within my plan. So typically I had a couple of restaurants that were close to me where I knew the nutrition information because I had already tracked it before. So even if there were places that were more convenient closer to where I was working, I wouldn't go to those places if I wasn't sure that I could find a meal that was going to help me to hit my calories and my protein without taking me in the wrong direction. The biggest mistake you can make is waiting until lunchtime, talking to your coworkers, and you ask them, so what are we eating today? That is the biggest mistake you can make, because 9 times out of 10, your coworkers do not have fitness goals and they do not care about your fitness goals. So you need to have your own plan and know exactly what you want to do before lunchtime comes, which is the biggest benefit to meal planning, is that you don't have to worry about decision fatigue. When you have a stressful day or stressful morning, when you get hungry, you're going to look for food that's going to comfort you. And these are things that are typically not the best sources of nutrition to get you towards your goal. These are going to be things like the burgers and fries and pizza and things like that because they just make us feel good when we eat them. But when you already have a plan in place, whether you have a stressful day or not, you don't have to make a decision about what you're going to eat. You've already decided about what you're going to eat, and you're not basing it on how you feel, because emotional eating will hold you back. Because when we get into our emotions, logic goes out the window. And you can take this a step further, not just your meals. You can plan your snacks, your desserts, whatever it is. As long as you know your calories and your protein by the end of the day, it's all going to work out. Now, these habits are going to help you to melt belly fat pretty well. But if you have trouble learning how to integrate this into your life so you can stack habits on each other so you can make it a part of your lifestyle, check out this video here where I break it down for you.